Welcome to the Bourbon Friday Show. I'm your host, Nick Niehaus, and I am talking to James Forbes, who is the founder and CEO of Good Life Growing. James, thanks for chatting with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Really appreciate being on.
Yeah, excited to talk to you. So tell us a little about your business, first of all.
So Good Life Growing is a social enterprise with a mission-based bottom line to combat urban decay and food insecurity. And so we founded ourselves on the principles that it is possible to make money while also being a good steward for the environment and caring about the communities you set up shop in.
Very cool. Okay, so you guys are located here in St. Louis, right?
Yeah, headquartered and founded.
Very cool. So are you? What part of town are you in?
We are in North St. Louis and East St. Louis. It came from a passion to, go to where you're needed the most. And when the opportunity popped up to set up a farm and interact with the community in North St. Louis City, we jumped at the opportunity and just went all in.
Very cool. So I want to hear more about the start of all that, right? Because, the mission obviously is a very great thing. You mentioned before we got on camera here that you were able to acquire some land pretty affordably, right?
Right. And that story is wild. I used to be a partner at an insurance brokerage and was talking about insurance, and I had a binder, but at the time I'd always stuff this binder with just random pieces of paper to look busier than I was.
Yeah.
And a couple of pictures of an aquaponics system had fallen out, and one of the folks I was talking to picked it up and candidly asked me, what this aquaponics system was and if I was growing marijuana. And I was like, no, man, I swear to God, it's kale, it's lettuce and arugula.
Yeah.
And I told them more about aquaponics being a closed loop growing system that you could do in Antarctica or the desert. You recycle fish nutrient in lieu of having to fertilize crops in a soil method. And he asked me if I'd be willing to put it in North St. Louis. And after talking to my friends who would help me out, we decided to go ahead and set up shop in the Ville in the 4th Ward, right there on Sarah and Evans.
Really? Interesting. Okay. So let's give me some more details on the process of aquaponics. Because, I don't know everything about it, but obviously this is like a very efficient. You mentioned you can put these systems pretty much anywhere in the world. So when you're talking about there's fish, there's plants, how does that all work together?
So it's pretty much hydroponics, but instead of using fertilizer and nutrients to dose a hydroponic reservoir, you create an ecosystem using biology. So you raise fish in a similar reservoir to hydroponics, but you pump that fish wastewater into a growing bed or a growing medium. And through the process of nitrosomonas, that ammonia in the fish waste becomes a nitrogen-rich fertilizer. The plants filter out the rest of the toxins that would make the fish environment unlivable. And you return a clean water source while growing plants about 60% faster than in soil.
Really?
And using 90% less water than traditional agriculture.
That's incredible. So you're getting fish out of this, right? You're getting plants out of it. You're saving water. It's growing faster. Why isn't this how we grow all our food yet? It sounds like 10 times more efficient almost.
Oh, man. I can go into a lot of different reasons, but honestly, it's just the way that the food system and our agricultural system shaped out that for a period of time, it made sense for farmers that were traditionally smaller, like backyard farmers, family farms, pre, 1900s. And then all of a sudden commodity crops popped up and there was more money in growing commodities than there were in growing food. And, you can't knock the farmers for trying to make money and feed their family. But with that, we started stressing out our food system here in the U.S. and globally, relying heavily on the state of California's agricultural system and production from Mexico. And so it's starting to get a lot more popular, thanks in part to the work that Will Allen did with Growing Power in Milwaukee. And I think now that the emphasis has been put on food safety and affordable food access and a healthy, sustainable food system, it's starting to pick up steam.
That's awesome. Yeah. So going a little bit further back, how did you get interested in all this in the first place? Did you grow up on a farm or?
I accidentally graduated from Mizzou with a degree in agriculture.
Oh, okay.
And then never thought I would get back into agriculture. I actually started working for the United States federal government, doing work for the Office of Budget and Administration. And then I got laid off from the government.
Sure.
And so in my downtime, I had some time to figure out what I wanted to do. And I was sitting in a buddy's basement, and an episode of Doomsday Prepper came on. And in that episode of Doomsday Prepper, they were harvesting rainwater, raising fish, and using just junk to grow plants. And we said, man, that's pretty cool. We should actually go try and do this ourselves. And so we started in a buddy's grandma's house in her backyard, just building systems. People started getting interested, asking if we would build them growing systems. And that's where all those pictures came from. And long story short, everyone had other things in life they wanted to do. So we stopped doing aquaponics for anyone else other than ourselves. And then that picture fell out that day, and the opportunity to start Good Life Growing came to fruition.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, just like random circumstances. Find your picture and it falls out and you get a whole business going.
Yeah, I did not think I would be doing this with my life, but wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, so tell me a little bit more about the farm. So obviously this is, so in parts of town where there's definitely like food scarcity problems, there's a lot of open land. We used to do flyer distribution in our business. And so we actually had a couple jobs where we went up into some of these parts of town, and it was always surprising to me how much open land there actually is, where the houses are completely gone. You just got grass growing completely open. So tell me about like what it's been like to be working in those areas, what it means to the community.
Oh man, it means a lot. And I mean, I'm not from North St. Louis, and I grew up in North St. Louis. So, like many people in the St. Louis area and, outside the area, St. Louis has got a lot of eyes on it due to some, unrest that happened in the past couple of years. But, it's a true eye-opener in how people everywhere are good people, and they really just want to take care of their family and their friends and, just live a good life. That's where the name Good Life Growing came from. But the way that it all came together was we were originally just planning on having our own aquaponics system and our own personal dog park. Okay. But some kids started riding their bikes up and asking us if they could give us a hand. And so we said, yeah, sure, man. Here's how you use an impact drill. Here's how you use a hole saw. Here's how you put these things together. Explain to them what aquaponics is and why we're doing it. And they got really into it. And so we just started growing plants, and we started growing more plants than we could eat and then they could eat and that we could give away. But we were racking up bills, and I was paying for this all out of pocket. And so we started at Soulard Farmer Market, and a couple of chefs were our first actual customers there. And then asked if we could start supplying, their restaurants. Really? And it kind of just snowballed from there. But what we found out is that we expanded. We now have 5 acres of land between North St. Louis and East St. Louis that you can truly create a cooperative economy by working with the people that are in close proximity to your urban farm. And you create another ecosystem. That's kind of the theme. You create the ecosystem with aquaponics and urban farming. You create a almost like a resource-based food economy, and where you are setting up shop. And it's been awesome. I mean, we get a lot of participation, a lot of support from the local communities in North St. Louis and East St. Louis. Get to employ people, put money and food into people's possession, and take it from there. So it's one of those things that just kind of happened and just kind of worked. Should probably write a lot of this stuff down someday. At
some point, right? It sounds like a good book, honestly. Yeah. It's good stuff. So obviously, this is a big impact on the community. I mean, even just from the standpoint of having fresh food that's, locally available. So for those of our viewers maybe who haven't learned much about this, I mean, tell us a little bit about like the growing movement of urban farming and kind of putting the food sources closer to people.
And, it's just one of those things that makes sense. I mean, we have a stressed out food system. We have food insecurity. We have people that are willing to work, but the skill sets and education aren't always accessible to folks that come from disenfranchised communities. And so by creating more social entrepreneurships, folks get an opportunity to do something that's fun, something that makes money, and something that's in demand. And here in St. Louis, we have a vacancy issue. Like once you cross over the Del Mar Divide, we have a lot of vacancies. And the thing that I always talk to people about is how it doesn't necessarily always make the most sense to rehabilitate or redevelop for commercial uses or residential uses because the money doesn't add up. But if you can create a micro farm and increase the surrounding property value and create a local economy, improve the school system, and have people eating healthier food sources, I strongly believe you can improve the society you live in.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's the part I hadn't even thought about, but the idea of putting a farm there actually improves the property values near it.
Right.
Okay.
Because,
cool.
I mean, if you have a bunch of like open vacant lots and bombed out buildings, a lot of businesses and a lot of potential home buyers don't want to be near that.
Yeah, well, that makes
but
sense. Yeah.
If you're able to create something beautiful and productive, and some of the properties that you can convert can increase in value, that kind of trickles down and has that ripple effect where our school system is funded by property, taxes
Sure.
and, and valuation. And so if those go up, you can see those school systems go up, and you can see quality of education go up, and you can see median household income go up. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
No, I mean, that's great. I mean, it seems perfect, right? Because you have all this open land, you have all these places where the houses are almost entirely gone. I know the city's continuing to take more of them down. And yeah, it seems like one of the most kind of logical, easiest things to put there would be a farm, which you're not used to seeing in a city, but then all of a sudden property values start coming back, and maybe 10 years later, they use the land for something else, or I don't know. But I mean, that's obviously a great way to revitalize a community in a kind of simplistic, beautiful approach. That's awesome.
Absolutely. And I mean, we live in the generation of side hustles. And so for somebody else to be able to make an extra $100, $200 a week, that adds up and that money goes places. And so, I mean, if people are able to, increase their income while working through whatever job they're working towards, they can start increasing their capital in themselves.
Yeah, that's great. Well, so tell me a little bit more about the specifics of the business. Like, for instance, what kind of food are you guys growing?
We grow 64 different varieties of crops.
Wow. Okay.
A lot of it's seasonal, but we drive home revenue with lettuce, spinach, arugula, kale, and microgreens.
Okay.
And so those are what we supply to most of our restaurant and grocery store clients. And we also do consultation and design builds.
Oh, really? Okay. So you're working with other farms to help them build the same sort of systems, or?
Right. If someone wants to build a sophisticated greenhouse system, or if someone wants wants a low-tech urban farm, we're there to provide guidance. And I mean, we learn early on all the things not to do.
Right,
and so by knowing what you should do and what makes sense and what's affordable and economical, happy to pass that information along. And I mean, we do a lot of free stuff. We donate our time. We do in-kind contributions. We're pretty flexible and pretty easy to work with. And I mean, maybe my business partners might give me a little bit of a rub for saying that, because to me, it's not just about the money. It really is about, living a better, good life.
Well, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Business.
Yeah.
I like it. So if somebody wants to get some of your products, I mean, obviously you're in a lot of grocery stores and restaurants, so there's specific places they should go to pick some of it up?
I would highly recommend looking up every single organization, business entity that is on the Green Dining Alliance. It's a group that is, it's a group that really is passionate about sustainability and the environment. And it works with the business community so that they're, reducing their carbon footprint, supporting local, and the list is massive. I mean, I don't want to just handpick a couple of our clients because of what I've heard. But we got quite a bit. I mean, we have a touch in close to 200 different restaurants, several grocery stores, opening up our own grocery store in Old Source, St. Louis, called Old North Provisions. Yeah, Old North Provisions is catty corner to Crown Candy Kitchen, so you really can't miss us.
Yeah, sounds good. And then final question for you until we bring Eric on the show here would just be, I know you said you work with quite a few people, right? So are you looking for more employees, or are there opportunities to work with you in the future?
Absolutely. We have free education classes that we actually pay people $10 an hour to learn how to do aquaponics and indoor farming. Okay. And we are a United States Department of Labor apprenticeship program, 2,500 hour program. You can register through the Slate office or the St. Clair County Intergovernmental Office in Illinois. That pays a living wage, 2,500 hours. At the end of the apprenticeship program, you become certified as a grow technician, and we either make a job offer for full-time employment plus benefits, or we refer you to one of our partners out of state. I'm biased. I'm trying to keep everyone that we can, but if someone wants to move out of state, happy to send them in the right way.
It's quite an investment, obviously, on your end to put that together. So very cool. Well, we got a couple minutes left. So what we're going to do now is bring Eric, the founder of Bourbon Friday, on. And he's going to tell a story behind how we chose the bourbon we're drinking. So what we got here?
So I looked all around for urban farming in bourbon making. I didn't find any. I did find it there is a distillery here in Missouri. They don't make a bourbon product that actually create their sort of like starter grain and test products using an urban farm. However, this, I thought, well, let's still keep it local. And this is Dogmaster. And Dogmaster is a distillery in Columbia, Missouri. Okay. And like our guest today, 3 out of 4 of the owners went to Mizzou and graduated from Mizzou.
Oh, okay.
And I also the name Dogmaster, which is kind of a weird, funny name, is from the founders what they called each other in college. And what it meant was a person that does their own thing.
Okay.
Like, so if you went and studied rather than went out and partied, you're a Dogmaster. I think like that, to me, that's just an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it does sound like an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Except for the going to class part. I know that part doesn't sound like an entrepreneur, but I get it for sure. So do we got any events coming up this week? I know we finally got through
we
the one we've been promoting for weeks here, right?
We did. We finally got through EQ Leadership Labs. It was great. We had the after party here. But we do. There are quite a few really great events next week. So on Monday and Tuesday, there is the Geosource Earth Day celebration at T-Rex. And this is a 2-day celebration, and that's going to be between Geosaurus, which is the new Geospatial Innovation Center in T-Rex, and CWT Geo A Hub, the International Anti-Poaching Foundation, and Earth Day 365. They're all setting that up. And on Monday, the presentation is called Frontlines in the Ivory Wars, and they're going to have Damian Mander, the founder of the IAPF, and Vimbai Kamire, who is a squad leader in an all-female anti-poaching unit in Zimbabwe. Damian Mander is a special forces from Special Forces, and he trained all of these people to actually fight back in Zimbabwe against poachers. And then on Tuesday, there's going to be a screening of The Last Animals, and that follows conservationists, scientists, and activists that are battling poachers throughout the world of elephants and rhinos. On Wednesday, we have the Med Launch demo. It's at Innovation Hall. It's a culminating event for the Med Launch Biomedical Accelerator. 4 teams are going to be pitching there, presenting their full product from this year. Also, the keynote is by Dr. Alan Doctor. Apparently, yeah, you know. Okay, Doctor.
There you go.
And he has a synthetic blood launch, or synthetic blood startup.
Synthetic blood.
Yeah. Venture Cafe is on Thursday night, like always, but this is the Next at 4240 event.
Okay.
This is going to be sponsored by Bear. There's a bunch of different panels there. There's one that's on AI and human collaboration. There's one about eradicating malaria. And then there's one on gene editing and food. So definitely go check that out. I don't know whether Bear has been involved over at Venture Cafe before, but I mean, we know that Bear just bought Monsanto here recently. Yeah. So they're definitely trying to get more involved in everything. And then Friday, we're back here at Kobo. We have Ronke Folletti from Corday, and she just got accepted as in the first group of residents at St. Louis Fashion Fund Fashion Lab. Oh. And this is kind of a workspace as well as showroom for these. And she makes luxury handbags for mothers.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and the other thing I want to mention, and I've kind of been meaning to mention this for a while, but we have now on the YouTube channel, so you can basically watch it on any device. We have the first 35 episodes up, wow, which, you know, is a little over half. So go and check that out. Please subscribe.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing that, by the way. Yeah. That's awesome. So, well, thanks for all the updates on the events that are coming up. James, thanks for joining us today. Absolutely. Really appreciate it. I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I think this is my 21st interview that I've done this week. So thanks for bearing with me. I'm like half asleep already at this point, excited for the weekend. If you are tuning in, thank you for watching us. We are here at Kovo, so we want to thank Kovo for hosting us every week. Thank you for EQ for sponsoring us and broadcasting our show through your channel. And thank you to Vanessa Lobo, my business partner at Connects Marketing, for always producing an awesome episode for us. Thanks for tuning in, and please join us again next Friday at 4:30 for the Bourbon Friday Show.
Hey, thanks for watching. We truly hope you enjoyed it. Please like and share this episode, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. To stay up to date, follow us on social. We are at Bourbon Fridays on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. See you next time.